Problem is that the existence of God, and by God what we mean? A creator and a personal God, who is a person. As I said, as I quoted the ayah, Inni ana Allahu la ilaha illa ana. Ana, the big I am, the infinite ego. So existence of a creator, and especially a personal God, cannot be proved through any logical arguments. Although there has been endeavor of the thinkers, philosophers, especially, the experts in scholasticism, mutakallimin, the mutakallimin among the Jews, the mutakallimin among the Christians, the mutakallimin among the Muslims, they have all been trying to their utmost to prove the existence of God through logical arguments. Since the time of Aristotle, 3 arguments have been given, and they have been named. Allama Iqbal has also mentioned in his lectures the ontological, the teleological and the cosmological arguments for the existence of Allah, for the existence of God. But the fact of the matter is that all these arguments are repudiated by logic itself. Just as we have the saying in Arabic, Innal hadida bil hadid yuflahu. Iron can cut the iron. Logic cuts logic. Logic repudiates logic. And as I mentioned in my lecture before also, some of the lectures, that Kant, who has been taken to be the father of modern Western philosophy, he proved it finally, that none of the logical arguments given so far to prove the existence of God can stand scrutiny. It gives way. It is proved false, untenable. His epoch-making book, The Critique of Pure Reason. Reason cannot prove the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No argument is there. And we find that many of the scholastic giants among the Muslims, Imam Razi and so on, who gave and gave and gave arguments, different types of arguments, but in the end they had to say, Amutu ala aqidati ummi. It has been narrated about that when the time of death came of a very big, mutakallim, now Shaitan, Iblis, came to him and started arguing him about his arguments which he had developed to prove the existence of Allah. And Shaitan repudiated every argument. So in the end, that scholastic giant had to say, Amutu ala aqidati ummi. I am dying on the aqidah of my mother. And there has been narrated another sentence, Amutu ala aqidati ajaiz Nishapur. I am dying on the same faith and belief on which the old women of Nishapur are dying. They don't have any proof. They don't believe Allah on the basis of any arguments, any philosophy, any logic. They believe Allah, that's all. I also believe in Allah, and that's all. Although for Kant, let me tell you, that when he wrote that book there was a great uproar, because till his time, Christianity had very firm roots in Europe. This era of atheism and materialism had not up till then ushered in. So there was a great, concern, uproar against him. And we can't say whether he actually, only to save his skin, he wrote the second book, A Critique of Practical Reason. Now he put forward the moral argument. There can be no morality without believing Allah, without believing God. There can be no basis for moral life. Hence, it is necessary to believe in God. But what does it mean? You are believing in God because you need Him, that's all. But whether He really exists, that's a different issue, different matter. But He, on the basis of, as I quoted his verse, there are two proofs of the existence of God: the starry heavens above and the moral law within. We have a moral law. Man knows by his very nature what is good, what is evil. If this is true, then there should be morality. We should lead a moral life. We should tell the truth. And we should not tell a lie. But why to tell a truth? If you find there's going to be some harm come to you if you are telling the truth. You can save your skin if you tell a lie. So actually there you need to believe in God, that He wants you to tell the truth and not to tell the lie. So this is actually to believe in Allah or God only because you need Him, that's all. And let me quote another very big philosopher, Western philosopher, Bradley. He said, and said very correctly, I quoted this, sentence of his in some other lecture of mine also. In his equally important and epoch-making book, Appearance and Reality, he says, philosophy is the name of finding bad reasons for what we believe on instincts. This position, is very near the position of Quran. Now please let me describe to you what's the position of Quran on the issue of Iman Billah. The knowledge and love of Allah, of the Creator, is inherent. It is present in the human souls or spirits. It is there. Because why? These souls or spirits, they come from Allah. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. They have emanated. They have come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the knowledge of Allah and love of Allah is inherent in them. But only man forgets Allah, becomes unaware of Allah, the Creator. Why? Because of his preoccupation or overindulgence in this world of matter. We are busy. This preoccupation with this world of matter, with this world of cause and effect, and being involved in the lusts and the desires of our body, our nafs. We only forget Allah. We know Him. The knowledge of Allah is there, inherent within us. But because we are preoccupied, we are fully indulging in this world of matter and cause and effect around us. We are concerned with our comforts, our needs first of all, then comforts, and so on. So we just forget Allah. And there is only the need of reminding. And this reminding can be done by inviting the attention of the people towards some signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are signs, there are ayat, there are symbols, there are alamat. Those alamat, as I told you, alam. What is alam? Alam, through which you can have knowledge of something. Alamat, alama, alameen. So actually, that's the basis of Quranic argument, that the knowledge and love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is already inherent in the souls of human beings. Only they are unawares, or they just tend to forget because of their preoccupation with this world of matter and their lust for sensual gratification. They are busy. preoccupied. And only you have to remind him. Please remember these words, which we shall be studying in the Quran now. Reminding. Only reminding. But reminding through what? Through some signs. Let me give you an example. You had a friend. You have not met him since, for example, 10 years, 20 years. You just forgot him. Never his idea doesn't come to you. You're busy. Suddenly someday you open some suitcase of yours or a trunk of yours and you find some handkerchief or something of the sort which that friend had given to you at some time. And suddenly you remember your friend. There was no intention of remembering him. Instantaneously, spontaneously, you remembered him. Why? You had known him before, but you have forgotten him. His idea never came to your mind now. You have not met for 20 years, 20 long years. But there was something which reminded you of him. When you saw that small piece of cloth, the handkerchief. He had presented it to you sometimes. You kept it in your suitcase as a souvenir. But you know, now when that comes before you, suddenly you remember your friend. This is the process of remembering Allah. Allah is reminded. We are reminded of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His signs, through His ayat.